The auction hall on Cathera Station smelled of ozone and old fear. 300 species passed through its gates every cycle, and most of them never looked twice at the lower pens, the overflow cages, where the unsellable things waited, broken machinery, expired cargo licenses, and sometimes living creatures that no one had bothered to classify as either. Corporal Dana Reyes had not come to Cathera Station for an auction. She had come to file a transit permit and buy a replacement power cell for her shuttle's secondary drive. She was on leave. She was supposed to be resting. She was very bad at resting. The crowd thinned near the back of the hall, where a Thalari broker, gray-skinned, four-armed, perpetually irritated, was running through the overflow lot with the enthusiasm of someone disposing of old furniture. Dana drifted that direction because she had always drifted toward things that other people looked away from. It was the same instinct that had made her a medic. She heard the coughing before she saw the source. Thin. That was the first word. The being in the lower cage was thin, the way a dried leaf was thin, as if the wrong pressure would crumble her entirely. Her species was Velhari, Dana recognized after a moment, which explained part of the broker's disinterest. Velhari were oxygen sensitive. They breathed a narrow nitrogen-helium mix, required specific humidity levels, and had a bone density so low that a standard gravity environment caused microfractures over time. They were, by nearly every galactic market metric, impractical to own. The girl, she looked young, though Dana wasn't certain how age read on a Velhari face, was curled against the cage wall, silver pale fingers wrapped around her own arms. Her secondary eyelids were half drawn. The cage's atmospheric setting was wrong. Not dangerously wrong, but wrong enough that every breath she took was slightly too hard. "What's her reserve?" Dana asked. The Thalari broker looked at her, looked at the cage, looked back at Dana with the expression of someone who had stopped expecting reasonable questions. "No reserve," he said. "Disposal lot. No buyer in 9 cycles. Cost to maintain her atmospheric requirements exceeds projected sale value." Disposal meaning what, exactly? He made a gesture that was universal across most species, the kind that meant time's end of the line. Dana's jaw tightened. She kept her voice flat. "What does her paperwork say?" "No registered origin. Arrived with a Scarvan freight convoy that was impounded for contraband. She was in a storage container." He said this without particular emotion, the way one reported weather. "No documentation. No species welfare claim filed. By Cathera Station law. Unclaimed biological cargo held beyond 8 cycles reverts to station authority for resource reclamation." Resource reclamation. Dana had learned, over 6 years in galactic space, that bureaucratic language was always most brutal when it was most sterile. "I'll take her," Dana said. The broker stared at her. "Human. She requires—" "I know what she requires." Dana was already pulling up her transit credentials on her wrist panel. Nitrogen, helium blend, 31%. Humidity, between 60 and 68. Gravity no higher than 0.4 standard. I have an adjustable Atmo unit on my shuttle. It's not fancy, but it works. She met his eyes. "What's the transfer fee?" The broker named a number that was clearly designed to discourage her. Dana paid it without blinking. The girl's name, communicated in careful, exhausted hand signals once she had enough good air in her lungs, was Vale. She sat wrapped in a thermal sheet in the back of Dana's shuttle, the portable atmospheric unit humming softly beside her, and watched the human with eyes the color of pale ice. She had said nothing aloud. The Velhari communicated primarily through gesture and subvocal resonance, and Vael's resonance was too weak right now to carry meaning. Dana did not push. She ran a basic medical scan, noted the microfractures along Vael's forearm bones, old ones, healed badly, and the signs of prolonged mild oxygen toxicity, and made a list in her head the way she always made lists. What needed to be done, in what order, one thing at a time. She heated a nutrient pack calibrated to Velhari biochemistry. She'd bought 4 of them at the station, expensive and hard to find, and had not mentioned the cost to anyone, and set it within Vael's reach. Then she went back to the cockpit and began filing the custody transfer documentation because paperwork was what stood between Vale and Time's resource reclamation times, and Dana was going to make sure every line of it was airtight. An hour later, she heard a soft sound from behind her. Not a word, more like a question shaped out of breath. She turned. Vale was looking at her, the nutrient pack empty in her hands, her pale eyes clearer now. Her fingers moved slow, careful, the way someone moved when they weren't sure the language would be understood. Why? Dana leaned back in her pilot's seat. She thought about all the answers that were technically true. Because it was the right thing. Because I couldn't walk away. Because no one else was going to. She settled on the simplest one. Because you needed someone, she said. And I was there. Bael's fingers moved again, more slowly. They said, I was not worth the cost. They were wrong. Dana said it the way she said everything important, without theater, without softness, padding the edges, just the fact of it, placed between them like something solid. You are worth the cost. You're worth a lot more than what I paid, which wasn't much, and anyone who told you otherwise was either lying or didn't know what they were looking at. The Velhari girl was quiet for a long time after that. Then her fingers moved, smaller this time, almost shy. The human at the station. When you paid, you said something to the broker. I did not understand all of it. All. End quote. Dana remembered. She had leaned in close to the Thalari broker while signing the transfer forms, close enough that her voice wouldn't carry to the crowd still browsing the overflow lot. And she had said it quietly, not as a threat, not as a declaration, just as a statement of simple fact. She's mine now. So, we're done here. I told him, Dana said, that you were under my protection, that the transaction was complete, that no one was going to reclaim anything. She paused. I meant it. I. Vale looked at her for a very long time. The secondary eyelids, translucent, silver-veined, slid, halfway closed. And Dana had read enough Velhari behavioral documentation to know that was not distress. It was something closer to the opposite. You are a strange creature, Vale signed. I've been told that, Dana agreed. Humans are supposed to be loud, aggressive. The traders on the convoy said humans were dangerous, that they should be avoided. Some of us are loud, Dana said. Some of us are dangerous. Most of us are just, she searched for the right word, persistent. We don't let go of things we've decided matter. She turned back to the navigation panel. I'm heading to Mira Outpost. It's a small station, low gravity, good medical facilities. I know a Velhari physician there. She retired from the University of Thesson, but she still practices. She can look at those microfractures properly. A pause from behind her. And after? Dana pulled up the outpost's docking registry and began requesting a berth. After, we figure out the rest. There's no rush. You don't have a timeline. She glanced back briefly. Do you? Bael's fingers moved, slower than before. I have not had anything that was not a timeline in a very long time. Then this is new for both of us, Dana said simply, and turned back to the stars. Later, much later, after Mira Outpost and the physician, and 3 months of painstaking bone regeneration therapy, and Vale learning that 6/10 standard gravity was actually manageable if she wore the support bracing, Dana had spent 2 weeks. Tracking down a Ketharan trade official, filed a routine inquiry about the transfer. He was looking for evidence of improper acquisition. Emotional purchases of biological cargo were sometimes flagged for review, in case the buyer had been manipulated into an unsound transaction. He interviewed Dana at Mira Outpost's administrative office. He asked if she had understood what she was taking on, the medical costs, the atmospheric requirements, the complexity. Dana looked at him with the expression of someone who had been asked a question with a very obvious answer. Yes, she said, I understood. He asked if she had any regrets. From across the room, through the office window, he could see the Velhari girl sitting in the small garden on the outpost's lower deck. She was in a patch of filtered sunlight. Her pale hands were open in her lap. She was, by every visible measure, completely at peace. Dana followed his gaze. Then she looked back at the official. "No," she said. "None." The official closed his file. Some transactions, he had learned over many years in his profession, simply did not require further investigation.